Lamplight Audiobooks presents an unabridged recording of The Secret of the Lost Pearls by Darcie Wilde, narrated by Ruth Redman. W.F. Howes presents an unabridged recording of The Secret of the Lost Pearls by Darcie Wilde, narrated by Ruth Redman. Chapter 1. Chance Encounters. His flight was rendered necessary by distress of circumstances, and if that were the case, he was not the young man to resist an opportunity of having a companion. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. February 1820. "Campbell!" Asherton hailed Campbell from where he stood with his pretty young companions. "There you are! We were afraid you weren't coming." Campbell smiled and strode over to his friend. It was a raw, grey day, and everyone was bundled up snugly. They made a nice little grouping at the public gate of Langford House, Asherton in his greatcoat, muffled practically to his ears, and flanked by the two delectable girls with shawls and muffs. The girls were cousins, Emma and... hang if he could remember the other one. Campbell's attention and ambition were fixed on Emma, or more specifically, on her future fortunes. According to her chaperone, Emma's guardians planned to settle £5,000 a year on her dainty shoulders just as soon as she married. Naturally, Campbell would have preferred a more manly way of making his living, but even the manliest must eat, dress, and pay his debts of honour. Thankfully, little Emma was pretty enough to turn necessity into a pleasure. She had a wealth of pale gold hair, bright pink cheeks, pale skin, and wide blue eyes. In Campbell's experience, dark girls were bound to be obstinate. The fair, frail ones were generally of much sweeter and malleable temperament. "I'm so sorry." Campbell bowed deeply to Emma and to Mrs. Rutledge, the girl's chaperone. "A chance meeting with a man who had some business. It could not be helped. Emma, my darling, do you forgive me?" The truth was, he'd needed an extra glass of brandy to help him muster the smiles that would be required during this afternoon's tedium. However, none of the party needed that particular detail. "I most certainly do not forgive you." Emma lifted her delicately pointed chin. She shouldn't call such attention to that dainty feature. Any man with blood in his veins would be sore tempted to nibble on it. "Not yet, anyway." "You little coquette." Campbell's grin broadened. "We will see just how quickly you forgive." "If you two are quite finished," piped up the cousin, hanging off Asherton's arm. What was her name? "I want to see the exhibition." Of course, of course." Campbell slid his arm through Emma's.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?